What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Alright, so continuing on here with some more bowling, giving you guys my analysis and overall thoughts of 2020, as well as my plans moving forward for this YouTube channel, my personal life in general, and all that good shit. Drinking some water here, of course. That, again, like I was talking about during that other video earlier, that's something I've been trying to do a little bit better job of, is drinking more water and drinking less soda and shit. Mostly because it's better for my teeth. You know, I can kind of drink some water and then rinse off my teeth after a little bit after drinking soda. Again, I've been trying a little bit more so to take better care of myself and shit. Nah, that sucked. So yeah, drinking my water. Alright, so I am going to tell you guys about a major event that happened in my life in 2020. Something that I actually think ended up being pretty awesome. So, it started off actually as something kind of bad. So, at the beginning of this year, you know, I still had my old car, my 2002 Nissan Sentra GXE. And, you know, that was an old car. It had a ton of rust, a ton of shit like that. Still a good car, though. Still ran very well. No issues there. No, like, mechanical issues, at least that I was aware of. You know, she still ran good. All that good shit. But I got a notice in the mail that my car was due for its emissions testing. And my service engine light had been on for, like, literally since a week. Like, literally a week after I got my car tested the last time for emissions, the service engine light went on. So I got kind of lucky with the timing on that. But yeah, it just kind of sucked, because then I had to take my car in, and I knew it was going to fail emissions. So I took it in, it failed emissions, and in order to have the car fixed, it would have cost me more than it was worth, to be honest. And at this point, during the coronavirus, I had actually gotten kind of lucky. Ha! I'm not the only one who gets gutter balls. It makes me feel better. So it would have cost me more to have the car fixed than what the car was actually worth. So at this point, it made more sense to just go out and buy a new car at this point, rather than have my car fixed. So I decided I'm going to buy myself a little bit of goodwill, you know. I'm going to do something good with this old car of mine. So rather than sell off my car, I decided to donate it to charity, you know, Cars for Kids. So I decided to go ahead and... Wow, are you shitting me? Fucking fuck. Anyway, so I decided to donate my car to Cars for Kids. You know, it would go to do some good. Plus, I probably only would have gotten $500 for the car anyway. It was full of rust. It still ran, and any car that runs is worth at least $500, you know. But I figure, you know, I can still donate my car to Cars for Kids. They can come and pick it up. I don't have to deal with posting ads on Facebook or shit like that. And I can still get a $500 tax deductible on my tax returns next year. So I'm like, whatever, you know. Not a big deal. So I decided to do that. Go that route. Plus, I mean, it's a win-win. I still get $500 for the car, and it goes to help a worthy cause, you know. So I figured it was a win-win there. So I went ahead and had that taken care of. And then I went out to buy my new car. So when I went to buy my new car, I brought my mom with me. Now, I know. Many of you are thinking, multi-step, you seriously brought your mommy with you to buy a brand new car? You're a grown-ass man, and you brought your mom with you to buy a new car. Yes! Yes, I did. And let me explain why. When my mom was a kid, like 1,000 fucking years ago, because she's old as hell... And I can say that because there's no way in hell she's ever going to watch this video, so I can get away with saying shit like that. So, back when my mom was a kid, she spent a lot of her childhood in the garage with my grandpa, who was a, you know, mechanic and shit like that. You know, he worked on cars and shit. He worked on race cars as well and shit. So my mom spent a lot of time either, like, at race tracks as a kid, or at or in the garage with my grandpa, you know, helping him fix cars and shit. So my mom knows a lot about cars, a lot more about cars than I do, because I may play a lot of Gran Turismo, but just because I do doesn't mean I know shit about cars, which I don't. You know, I do not pretend to be an expert when it comes to cars. You know, I don't really know much other than the basics when it comes to cars. I don't know much about them at all, really, if I'm being honest, but other than the basics. So I do, again, know the basics, but that's about it. Wow, God, I'm sucking some buttholes today. Damn. So close. So yeah, I brought my mom with me to go and buy a new car. I had my eyes set on one. It was a 2003 Chevy Malibu LS. I actually originally had my eyes set on another 2002 Nissan Sentra, which had actually only, because I went and checked the Carfax reports ahead of time before I went to this dealership to look at cars. Well, I call it a dealership, but it was more of a used car lot, to be honest. So I did my research ahead of time, you know, to make sure these cars were on the up and up, or at least seemed like they were on the up and up. And this other, this Nissan Sentra had only like 40,000 miles on it, which, granted, it's 2002, it's an old-ass car, probably not anything fancy, but still, only 40,000 miles on it, plus it was only like $5,000 was the asking price, which is pretty fucking good for a car with that mileage on it. Granted, it's an old-ass car, but still, you know? So I was thinking that one, but then someone else beat me to it. They bought it up before I could get to it, which is fine. But there was another car in that, actually in that same used car lot that I was looking at. It was a 2003 Chevy Malibu LS. And so me and my mom went that morning to take it out for a test spin, you know, give it the rundown, take a look at it, make sure it was, you know, legit, make sure there was no issues with it. So, you know, I took it out for a test drive or whatever. Well, we went to the dealership, talked to the lady who was there, and then she's like, yeah, okay, you guys can go ahead and take it out for a spin or whatever. I'm like, all right, sweet. So the thing about this 2003 Chevy Malibu LS, the one thing I really like about it, is that it has a V6 engine. So it's actually pretty fast. It's not, granted, it's no, you know, Camaro or Mustang or anything like that, but it's got a little bit of zip to it, you know? It's got a little bit of zing to it. It's not necessarily like a slow car, you know? If you hit the gas, that thing will fucking go, you know? Not like my 2002 Sentra. Don't get me wrong, my 2002 Nissan Sentra was an excellent car, but it was a very not fast car. Not at all. It had a very slow acceleration, very slow pickup. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't, you know, there's nothing special about it at all. Nothing remarkable about it as far as speed is concerned. So we took this thing out for a spin, you know, and you did all the different tests that you're supposed to do when you're, you know, test driving a car. My mom kind of coached me through that and shit like that. It felt good, you know. The car was accelerating properly. I floored it at one point, you know, because you always want to do that to see how the car accelerates when you floor it. And holy shit, that thing moved, man. That thing was fast when you hit the gas all the way. It was like, you know, like super fast. I'm like, damn. Compared to my old Sentra, which is what I was used to driving, you know. So everything checked out. Me and my mom, we spent a good amount of time, you know, looking underneath the car to make sure there was nothing fucked up. And I trust my mom to, you know, not let me drive away from there in a shitty car, you know. My mom knows enough about cars to be able to not let me do something stupid and buy a car that she knows is gonna be, you know, not good. And the car seemed to check out pretty well, you know. There's no major issues. There were a couple minor things, like the windshield wiper fluid thing was not working properly. It wasn't spraying the windshield wiper fluid on the thing, and the mirrors wouldn't adjust, which not that big of a deal because I don't really use mirrors honestly that much anyway. In my dad's truck, when I'm driving my dad's truck, I use mirrors. But when you're driving a small little sedan like that, you know, like a Chevy Malibu or whatever, you don't really need mirrors. You can just look out the side and see what's going on there because the car's, you know, small enough that you can see around it. Whereas, you know, with my dad's full-size pickup truck, yeah, you need to use the fucking mirrors. You know, you're not looking out the side and seeing what's going on there. You need to use the mirrors for driving a big truck like that. My dad's got a full-size Ford F-150, so, you know, not exactly a small vehicle. So when you're driving something like that, you need to use the mirrors, but when you're driving something like a Chevy Malibu, you don't really need the mirrors that much. So I wasn't that concerned about it anyway. I'm like, whatever, you know. I'll probably only adjust the mirrors once and then be done with it, you know, whatever. Yeah, everything seemed to check out, so I'm like, okay, the car had only 86,900 miles on it, which for a 2003 is insanely good. Because I was originally looking for a 2011, about like 2011 Nissan Sentra. That's what I was kind of looking for, but I realized quickly that there was nothing within my price range that would have worked out as well, because those ones were about like $7,000, and I could have just put a down payment on one. But here's the thing. This Chevy Malibu was listed for $4,000. The 2003 Chevy Malibu for $4,000 with 86,900 miles on it. That's a pretty decent deal. Like, it's not super great, but it's not terrible either. You know, it's not a bad deal. Plus, I thought about it too. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense, because if I went and bought a 2011 Nissan Sentra, which I probably could have done, could have put a huge down payment on it and just been like, yeah, I'll just put a huge down payment on it because I'm sure my credit's probably not that great. But I could have went and put a huge down payment on it. But what if something went wrong on the car right away? You know, which is entirely possible. People have driven brand new cars right off the lot and had things go wrong with them. You never know. So my thought process was, okay, what if something goes wrong with the car right away? Am I going to have enough money to fix it if something goes wrong? And if I put a huge ass down payment on there, like pretty much spent my entire bank account, kind of shit out of luck. You know, whereas if I buy this 2003 Chevy Malibu for $4,000, because I had about $7,000 saved up. Yeah, about like $7,000 saved up at that point. I'm like, I can buy this thing for $4,000 plus all like the tax, title, license, and doc fee brought it up to about like $4,800. So I still got a little over $2,000 sitting in my bank account. If something went seriously wrong with this car right away, like something that I couldn't see just by doing a basic inspection, you know, and my mom, she knows a lot about cars, but she's not a mechanic, you know. But if there was something majorly wrong with the car, I know she wouldn't have let me, you know, drive off the lot with it. I know she would have been like, you probably shouldn't buy this thing, you know. And she was telling me, she's like, yeah, this car checks out. It seems legit, you know. So, buying the Malibu made sense because, again, if something had gone wrong with it right away, like severely wrong with it right away, then I would have had the money in the bank to have it fixed. So, it was the smart move to do. Plus, it only has 86,900 miles on it. A lot of cars will last till about, like, before they start having a whole ton of shit go wrong on them. They'll usually last till about, like, 200,000 miles before shit really starts going wrong with them. Like, left and right. So, conceivably, I could have this car for, like, another 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years. So I feel like it's a really smart investment. Granted, I'm still cruising around in an old-ass car. You know, it doesn't have all the new features that these new cars have. Like, for example, my car, you know... So I ended up buying the 2003 Chevy Malibu because I figured it was the smart move, right? So now I'm cruising around in a car that still, in 2020, well, now almost soon to be 2021, still has a fucking cassette deck. And it only has... Well, now I have it up to about, like, 88,000 miles, which is still pretty good. You know, in a time span of almost, well, I'd say a little less than half a year, a time span of about, like, maybe 5 months, I've put maybe 1,100 miles on it. I don't go driving very often. That's the thing that makes this investment so smart, too, is because I don't drive much, so I don't put a lot of, like, miles on my car, so it doesn't put a lot of wear and tear on the car. So conceivably, I could have this car for many, many, many years to come. Assuming that it holds out mechanically and all that good shit. So, could end up being a very smart investment on my part. Plus, now I still have plenty of money left in the bank. So it ended up being a really smart move. Plus, it's actually a pretty fun car to drive because, again, like I mentioned, it has a V6 engine. So it does not get as good of gas mileage as my old Nissan Sentra, which was a basic 4-cylinder engine. You know, with my new Chevy Malibu, you know, being a V6 engine, you know, well, I say new Chevy Malibu, but it's 2003, so it's pretty old, but you guys know what I mean. It's new to me. But with it being a V6 engine, it burns a lot more gas. It's still not terrible. I get like maybe 18 miles to the gallon, so not terrible. So it's a lot more fun to drive, though, I would say, overall. The suspension's not as good as the Nissan Sentra, because the Nissan Sentra was a much lighter car, so I could whip it around corners a little bit faster than this one. But this one's still not bad. Plus, it's faster. That's the thing I really love. When I step on the gas, like, if I want to move in this car, I can fucking move and move fast. You know, which is kind of nice. So, that whole experience with buying the new car, I feel like, was pretty awesome, and it was a good learning experience for me. So, yeah. Good stuff. I'm happy with it overall so far. And hopefully it continues to be a good car. So, yeah. That was one of the major things that happened in 2020 for me. It was awesome. So, really happy with that car. I feel like it suits my style very well and complements me very nicely. So, plus I look pretty awesome in sunglasses cruising around in that thing. Plus it has a sunroof. Like the one that I got, that particular 2003 Chevy Malibu, is like the super upgraded version of the Malibu. So it has like the spoiler package. So it's got a spoiler on the back. It's got the sunroof. It's got, well, fuzzy dice, which is something that I added. Because, I mean, I'm cruising around in an American Classic. I got to have some fucking fuzzy dice hanging up in there, you know? So, yeah, I got my fuzzy dice. It's awesome. I love cruising around in that thing. So I think it ended up being pretty awesome. So, yeah. Either way, that was kind of a fun experience, but I'm happy with how that whole experience turned out. There were parts of it that were a bit of a pain in the ass, like getting rid of my old car, getting the tow truck people to come and pick it up and then donate it to Cars for Kids and all that good shit. That was a little bit of a hassle, as well as the process of actually having to go buy the new car, you know, a bit of a pain in the butt. But it is what it is. Still, I feel like the end result was very good. Very happy with that car. It's fucking awesome. I love it. And, yeah, good stuff. All right, well, either way, guys, again, I know I kind of have a bad habit of going on a bit too long here, but, you know, shit is what shit is. All right, well, either way, stay tuned for the next part of this game next time. More updates and analysis of 2020 to come and updates regarding my YouTube channel, so stay tuned, and until then, peace out.